Well, welcome back to the Win Withers podcast. My name is Nate Robinsop, and I'm here with Pastor Dr. Joseph Tillman, D-Min Jr. How are you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing awesome today.
I've gotten better at that.
You really have.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You're getting through it. Yep. Yeah, so thanks for saying my name right.
Cool.
Yeah, and with the titles, I guess, appropriately.
It's after Halloween, so how was your Halloween?
Well, didn't really do much. So It's pretty much same thing we do every Halloween. Not turn our lights on, and we're most unfriendly people ever.
Right.
No, actually, to be honest with you, like we live on a busy highway.
You're not in a place anyone's going to come.
No,
anyway.
no one's coming to our.
Yeah.
No one's coming to our house. No.
Yeah.
So we just have a family movie night. That's what we do on Halloween. So
what movie?
A
scary movie.
Not one of those. No. So my son is in this film appreciation class, my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're watching all of these, different movies that are like, considered like classic movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, more Halloween.
Yes, sir. You've got questions.
I've got questions.
I think you have statements as well.
Yeah, because you kept talking last time.
And my bad. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was good. But
okay.
I didn't want to push back because I knew we weren't going to get through a lot of questions, and we were trying to do it in one episode to have it all before Halloween. But that didn't happen, so here we go.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to those questions. That pushback.
Okay, read the ad.
Okay, here we go. Before we get started today with our questions, we want to shout out our sponsor, the Discipleship Group. The Discipleship Group is a systematic training for Christians who want to go deeper and grow stronger in their relationship with God. In these courses, Dr. Jay Zen brings you over 4 decades of study, pastoring, and teaching to equip the saints to make disciples. The Discipleship Group is a series of 6 books, each book consisting of 26 weeks. Therefore, it's 3 years of study. Each week has articles written by the author to read, a chapter from a supplemental book like The Passion for God or More Than a Carpenter, The Master Plan of Evangelism, and there's scripture readings each week from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Psalms. I've used the Discipleship Group resources for over a decade. I've used them in groups of 2 to 3 people. I've used them in small groups up to 12 people. And I can tell you, as a pastor, as someone who spends a lot of time making disciples and meeting with others, that the Discipleship Group resources are the best that I have found for growing in our faith and for encouraging us to go and make disciples ourselves. Go to discipleshipgroup.com, check out their resources, find out information about Dr. J, and I'm telling you, you will not regret it.
Patreon.
All right, yeah, man, go to Patreon. We have our different levels or tiers, however you want to call them, and $1, $10, $5, $20, whatever it may be. Go there, support us. We would love to have you supporting our channel to allow us to keep making episodes and keep doing the things that we're doing. So
corporate.
That would be great.
Great job.
Thank you.
Our website.
Yeah, go to our website, man. We got merch. You can find out information about us.
Yes.
You can take time to, who is this Nate guy?
Right.
Well, you can go and find out.
Well, there's like 150 epiographies of this Nate guy, so you can figure it out from there. Or you can go to the website.
Or just read one quick little, biography review. So,
that I don't even know what it says. I've never read it.
Right. Your wife wrote it for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's good.
Yeah. She made you sound really good. Like you really should be doing this. I don't know if she'd do that.
She probably might.
No.
She might.
I mean, probably made it sound better than you would have made it sound.
That's accurate.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, cool. Or social media.
Yeah, social media. Yeah, so go to our Facebook page, go to YouTube, go to all the places where you can listen to our podcast. Yeah, and click the like, the subscribe, the notification bell, comment, share, just get it out there. Let people know that you're watching us. And we'd appreciate all that. So get us moving in the algorithm, right?
Cool.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about that algorithm.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Well, last time we talked about Catholics the whole time. Catholics and pagans, as if they were the same.
We did not say that at all. If you did not listen to last week's episode,
you should,
because Nate's lying right now.
Anyway, but I grew up in evangelical, Protestant, charismatic, non-denominational world.
Yes, you did.
Right? All of those?
Yeah, all of those things. That's true.
So, to me, Halloween was... Okay. Halloween, this is the question. Halloween seems like a time where Christians get to feel superior to non-Christians for not participating in Halloween.
Huh.
Yeah. And so, is that accurate? And it almost seems like they look forward to it more than people who aren't Christians do because they get to feel better than them by not participating.
Okay, so that's not been my experience like at all.
Okay.
Zero. The opposite.
Okay.
So I actually see it as a time where, like, I'll say this, for me having, like when our kids were younger and telling them they could not go participate in certain things. Right, especially like we lived in a cul-de-sac. Everyone around us is their houses are all decorated for Halloween.
Yeah, this was like peak sheltered. You know what I mean? Peak Christian shelter.
Okay,
is not participating in Halloween.
Right. Okay. So my kids are homeschooled. Mm-hmm. Right. I was growing up, or my kids grew up in a church very similar to what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Right. The evangelical, non-denominational, charismatic church. Right. And so my kids grew up in a similar environment as that. They were told Halloween, like from the, up front by leaders, told Halloween wrong, evil, bad.
Right.
Don't associate with it. Okay. And so that was what they grew up with. And then us having to, as parents, probably not having as extreme a view as that, but also going, but we're not going to participate in that. Right. We're not. And so I think it was actually kind of harder because a lot of events and things are built around that, for kids. And so like their friends would be going to stuff, or we get invited to go with, parents or friends to go to different things, and they wouldn't be able to do that. So I didn't find it to be a place of like where we we definitely weren't looking forward to it. Definitely didn't feel superior in any way. It actually felt like we were way the minority in this, right? Because people like give us that eye of like, oh, your kids don't celebrate Halloween? Because it got to the point where like kids, people would ask, what do you dress up for Halloween?
Okay, well, that's another question I have.
Right? And then our kids would be like, we don't do Halloween. And then they look at they look at my wife and I.
What is wrong with you?
Right, with those judgmental eyes ever. And so anyway, and then
you look back at them with judgmental eyes for letting their kids be infected by demons.
We have a judgmental stare down.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, but I guess I didn't have that experience that you're talking about. It just felt very different than that for my kids growing up. Now, obviously for me growing up, we were right in the midst of doing all the Halloween stuff, right? I can remember hopping in the back of the pickup trucks and doing all that stuff, but we weren't being raised in that kind of environment.
Did you egg or TP houses?
Yes. Nice. But I don't remember if I did that on Halloween though. We did that just in other times. So
it's June.
Yeah,
let's go egg a house.
I mean, kind of. Yeah. So, well, that's a whole nother story of Joseph's childhood. Cool. We don't need to talk about right now. But yeah. But obviously, I guess you felt like that was the case for you growing up.
I felt like that was a little bit of it.
Okay.
That we get to feel superior. It was like peak Christian superiority day of not participating in Halloween.
No, definitely didn't. The only time that maybe it did feel that way to some degree was when Halloween fell like on a Wednesday night and our church had a prayer meeting. And it was like, kind of like, oh,
we're here praying.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, instead of having like empathy, compassion, like we're going to pray for those that don't know the Lord, that are lost, like da-da-da-da. Yeah, it was, I think for some people, I'm not saying for everybody, for some people, it felt like, all right, we're here doing the holy thing. Mm. They're there, everyone else is participating in Halloween right now. They're going and they're being pagans or Satanists or whatever.
I feel the same way the other direction about people who go to the gym or jog on major highways during church on Sunday morning.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You're judging them for that.
No, they're judging.
Oh, they're judging. You think they're judging
They get to feel superior than us because they don't need church. They've got exercise and health and wellness, and it's like, go run on a treadmill somewhere. Get out of my face. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, as you're passing people going to church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you not having the appearance of being judgmental and feeling better than when you get asked to do something and say, hey, no, we don't do that because we're not pagan sinners like you are.
Yeah.
Is that not the same thing or worse?
Well, we don't sit there and go, hey, we're not pagan sinners.
Yeah, but that's how you make them feel.
Well,
like they're terrible parents.
Like if that's how they feel, I can't control that. I can't control how other people feel. I can't.
Well,
I can't control how other people feel.
Well, then why are you not supposed to eat the meat that was sacrificed to idols?
Okay.
You can't control how other people feel.
Okay, there's a difference between caring for... Okay, there's a difference...
I told you I was going to push back.
I know, and I appreciate that. There's a difference between making sure a brother and sister in Christ doesn't stumble, right, that I know, okay?
Okay.
Versus everyone... Like, I can't control how everyone else does. In other words, when I was thinking about, like you mentioned that scenario of... even the temple, the meat being offered in the temple, right? Sacrifice in the temple. Like, I can't, the Corinthians couldn't control how the other pagans were going to feel about it, right?
Right.
In other words, they were going to abstain. They were not going to eat that meat. So were they going to get side eyes from the pagans? Yes. I mean, many who would have been family members, 100% they were going to get that, in a sense of, oh, well, aren't y'all just too good with your Christian religion now, to even come eat with us, have a meal with us. So, I mean, that's been going on from point one. And I guess what I mean when I say that, I can't control what other people feel, I can't. In other words, we have to live according to our convictions in love. I mean, so we're going to love. So I'm not going to condemn people with words I say. I'm not going to judge them. I mean, I really don't. And,
right, but you've said this.
But I'll also have to walk according to convictions and according to light. It would be the same thing. Like if I was at if I was somewhere and they're like, hey, you want to take a hit of this? And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
They may feel like I'm judging them for that. Or even like when I was in high school and I got saved and I really did. I mean, I quit, so I wasn't drinking anymore. I wasn't going to parties anymore. And there were individuals in that group that looked at me and they said, oh, well, you're just, one of those holy rollers now, that was, I mean, I got that. I caught that. And so, but at the same time, it wasn't like I was going to sit there and go, well, I guess I'll cave into my
Does that not still happen now? From me here?
No, not from you,
Just
Nate.
kidding.
Not from you. No, because I feel like it's a different world with, when you're with adults. I mean, you can have adult conversations, and if someone doesn't want to have an adult conversation or act in an adult way, then that's on them, not me.
It's a lot easier to get out of stuff like that now anyway.
Yeah.
Because there's other excuses other than Jesus said I can't.
Yeah,
and weed freaks me out too much. I can't do it.
Right. I mean, and even a small thing, I've said this before, I'm not against drinking, right? I mean, drunkenness is a sin, drinking's not, but I choose not to drink. So when I'm in gatherings and people offer me a beer or all that, I will say no, and I don't offer any explanation to that. And of course, a lot of times people know I'm a pastor, and so they're just like, "Oh, he's just a pastor." They kind of
right.
They're just, "Oh, okay, yeah, I got you." So that's that pastor guy.
They should make pastor beer. No alcohol.
No alcohol. Yeah. No, I'm
for
good.
Church.
I'm good. Yeah, for church.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess I still don't understand this. Where does my convictions end and I have to cater to other people begin? I just don't get any of that. Because we've talked about this before with swearing or something. Sure. Whenever we talked about that.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things. I think there's the lines that are very clear, right? That's this is sin.
Okay.
So I'm not going to engage in this act of sin. Like what Paul says in Galatians chapter 5, the deeds of the flesh are obvious. And then he goes on and names, them. And
but the thing that we talked about with the meat thing and now Halloween.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, I agree. I think these are much more on a personal conviction basis than it is on anything. And so I think it does get trickier. So you're looking for
treatier.
You're looking for the line.
Blah.
Yeah, I know. You're looking for the line. You're looking for the line of this is wrong, this is right.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that line is going to be different for different people.
I'll just hang out with no one. And have my own convictions then.
That's fine. Do that. So, I mean, as long as you're not, practicing occult, practices or, doing something satanic. I mean, that'd be,
sure.
Don't do those things.
So the modern American commercialized version of Halloween.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I don't
get it.
Yeah.
Like what's the problem?
Right. And this is where I think people can get really caught up.
This is the age-old question, I guess. What's the issue?
I think the issue is people either going to. I think you're right. Like, do we judge something based upon how it began, or do we judge it based on what it is now presently?
Right.
Because I do think those two things are different, and I think they matter. So if I'm sitting there and I'm judging, if I'm sitting there and I'm judging this based on how it possibly could have begun, right? Like, in other words, it began with a pagan festival that was celebrating a Celtic New Year, the end of the harvest season, beginning of winter, and there's all these pagan rituals associated with it. And then, if I'm judging it based on those roots, I'm going to go, no, I don't want anything to do with it. Right? Now, if I'm a Catholic and I'm judging it on the base of All Hallows Eve, I'm going to embrace the spiritual dynamic part of it. Right? If I'm just if I'm a Protestant Christian and I'm going to church and a lot of people in the church are going out and participating in the, kind of the commercialized present day, this is what it is, Halloween, where we dress up in costumes and we go to families and friends' houses. I don't know if that's the most harmful thing in the world.
Okay. So
I'm not going to sit here and go, you know what, you shouldn't do that. But I think it's also up to the conviction of the parents, of, hey, we're going to take our kids doing these things, or we're not going to. And a lot of times parents will draw those lines of like, all right, we're only going to go to family and friends, and we're only going to dress up in these type of costumes, so they're setting kind of standards, if you were. And but to your question, like, what's the big deal with the commercialized American version of Halloween right now? In a large way, there is no big deal of it.
Okay.
I mean, just being honest. For most,
for a Christian,
for most, yeah.
Okay.
For most Christians in most places, again, if I'm in Salem, Massachusetts, that's going to look very different, right? But if I'm just in a rural town in Georgia, they're not thinking about witches and they're not thinking about the satanic. And there may be those that are Satanists and are in, witch covens somewhere, maybe even in our area. I don't know. But like, for most people, that's not on their radar. That's not their thought process. They're just, let's go have some fun with the kids. I'm not throwing shade or blaming them for that. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Why is that not the line that you have, and let's do a fall festival at church is the line that you have?
Okay.
Like, that just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, what is it about participating in the normal thing that everybody does, different than this separate other thing that we do? Why separate yourselves that way when there's nothing really harmless about it?
Yeah, because I think what the Fall Festival does is it provides a space for everyone in the church to come to. Because you've got some people in the church that are going to go out on Halloween and, participate, and, their kids are going to dress up like princesses, and they're going to go out and trick or treat, and they're going to do all that stuff, right? There's others in the church that have a conviction that say, no, we're not going to do that. But if we create an environment at the church, fall festival, hayride, eat hot dogs, destroy Pastor Joseph in the face with pies and play all these different games, it gives everybody a chance to come together. Okay. And so I think that's really part of it.
No matter what anyone's convictions are.
Right.
Going out on Halloween.
Because like some people are going to wear costumes, some are not going to wear costumes. Like it's just a very kind of more open space, and it really is, because it's a couple weeks later. It's fairly detached from the actual Halloween.
So it's not a we feel better than you festival.
Not at all.
Okay.
It's a space where
I feel like that's the way it comes across.
Okay. And it may. for some people, but I think for a lot of churches, they just view it as an outreach opportunity. So
Okay.
in other words, hey, you can come to because I think there's a growing concern. I think this is a real concern among parents of, I don't want to just send my kids just wandering through neighborhoods to strangers' houses.
Right.
Like there's like a legitimate concern about doing that for the kids' safety and everything else. And so I think churches have taken that opportunity now to say, hey, you can come over to us, and we'll have, a trunk or treat or fall festival or whatever it may be. Your kids can get candy. Your kids can have a good time in a safe environment. And so I think churches have begun to use it more as an outreach tool. And though we're doing it in our church, we do it really for our church family to all come together and have a good time. It is simultaneously a good outreach opportunity too, But again, ours is so far afterwards. 2 weeks later, there's not really as much of a direct connection to that, as far as like an alternative. Where other churches will do it on that night,
Yeah. And
it really is geared as an outreach, for families to come to this church where they know their kids are going to be safe and the food and the candy you're going to get are safe and those kind of things.
Okay, so what do you think? Where's the line on what should celebrate for Halloween for Christians?
Okay,
okay, so we've talked about adults going to the adult parties. Is that bad, or is that just a party where people are dressed up?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, I think a lot of those adult parties can be bad.
Okay,
right, because it turns very sexual and sensual, and I just I don't think there's any need for a Christian to walk into that environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
now, okay, let me preface that though. Like, not every adult party looks that way, right? Like, there's some, but you're going to get together with family and friends, and it's not that way at all.
Yeah.
And so you're getting together with family and friends, and it's a costume party, and you're getting dressed up. Okay, cool, right? Like, and so I think it really depends on the environment that you're going into.
Okay. So how would I know if I was getting into if I was doing Halloween but then also getting into something that was actually witchcraft or satanic? Like what would be the crossover there?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you go to a party and you think it's gonna be fairly, fairly nebulous, like whatever, like we're here having a good time, and all of a sudden a Ouija board breaks out, right? Like I think there's like certain specific signs of that. And so that, like, okay, I'm not going to deal with the occult kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to deal with chants or whatever that people may have that they're like, hey, and they think they're being funny with it or whatever, but like, hey, everybody, let's, do this together. And like, no, okay, we're not going to do that. And we're actually going to leave right now. I think there's wisdom in where we're going and what we're doing. And hopefully you should be able to discern the difference between light and darkness,
Okay. Do you think that Halloween is getting more towards the satanic side in society, or more toward the not that anymore in America?
Huh. That's a good question. I don't know. I tend to think it's. I think I'll put it this way. Okay, so I'm the kid of the 80s, right? So I'm growing up in the 80s as a child. Like, I feel like for me as a child growing up in the 80s, it was very commercial, like very you and people were making handmade costumes and stuff, and you're dressing up like Big Bird or G.I. Joe or whatever, and you're hopping in the back like we did. Like, you couldn't do this today, but you hop in the back of pickup trucks and drive around the subdivision, and you're trick-or-treating and all that kind of stuff, and you knew most of your neighbors, and I don't know, it was, and again, maybe that was just maybe that was just South Georgia, maybe that was just a different environment I was growing up in, but there at that time and place, it didn't feel anything like overly spiritual. It just was just like, we're just going to have some fun, eat some candy, and so I think like that was cool. I do think now that there really is a rise in just spirituality in general,
Okay.
And so where you've got people that are more spiritual, and so because of that, they enter into these kind of spaces of I think there could be more of a like a dark kind of spiritual component to Halloween. I think that can be true. I also think that people go overboard with this kind of stuff now too. Like, in other words,
What do you mean?
In other words, like how much we're gonna, invest into making our house look so scary, and all that kind of stuff, and all the money we're gonna throw into kids' costumes, and I mean, and again, that's part of the commercialized part, but it also tends to be darker, in that environment, and so I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for me because I think the environments that I'm exposed to are different as well. Again, growing up in rural South Georgia is a little different than now being in a community that is Metro Atlanta and becoming more and more urbanized, So I think those are kind of just two different environments to some degree. But I don't know if it's moving more pagan. I will say this, I do feel like conversations are being had more with people going, should we celebrate Halloween?
Okay.
I feel like that question is being asked, at least of me now as a pastor, more than it's probably ever been asked.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because of the rise of the spiritual dark side of things, where maybe people feel like, hey, as a Christian, should I really be participating in this? Like, in other words, I'm following the Lord faithfully now. Should I really be in an environment where people are dressed up like demons and, or dressed up like Satan himself, should we be in those kind of parties and those kind of environments where even they have activities and stuff, that are really kind of dark and creepy kind of stuff, even for the kids. So I think maybe both sides are happening a little bit, where there's like this spiritual discernment part among people going, I don't know if I should engage in this stuff anymore. And I don't know how to handle that with my kid. What do you think? I feel like that question is being asked a lot more of my wife and I now than it's ever been asked.
Okay.
So
you think Halloween as a whole is a dark, demonic, satanic thing and not a Catholic good thing?
Okay, here's part of the problem with that for us in our particular area. Okay. It's not like we have it's not like we're surrounded by all of these Catholics that are, that have this view of it.
Okay.
Of Halloween this way. Okay. So for us, and mostly in a Protestant environment, where Halloween before had just been kind of nonchalant. Yeah, we do Halloween. We dress up like witches. We dress up like, like whatever. And we just go. And now I feel like it's more like, no, I don't know if we want to do that anymore. I don't know. And so it really is not a choice between the pagan roots, the Catholic roots, and kind of the Protestant perspective of the commercialized Halloween now. It's more like, man, this kind of just seems more dark than maybe we thought it was, or it's become more dark. Okay. So we just don't want to have a part of it. And I think that's their only perspective of it. Like, if I went into my church now and I talked about All Hallows Eve, they would be like, what are you talking about? Right? Yeah. Like, because that's not part of our tradition. Okay. And so if I talked about, All Saints Day or All Souls Day, that's not part of our tradition. Okay. They would have no idea what I was talking about. So for me to try to,
well, that's why you're there, to teach them.
I know, and we have had conversations about this, but it's not like I'm making a massive big point in all of it, and because there is, because the idea again with All Saints Day and with All Souls Day, they're not even things I really want to sign on to. As a Christian, and so
you don't like any of the roots of it at all,
and so well, obviously I reject the pagan roots, right? The Catholic roots to me seem disconnected from my view and my walk as a Christian. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's disconnected from my own tradition. So I don't have that tradition to connect to. Okay, and so when I'm thinking about like the All Saints Day and like the idea of like, kind of, honoring the saints and that kind of stuff, that's not really on the forefront of my mind.
So what if in the future the Catholics take over the Halloween narrative and it becomes their thing?
Cool.
Would you have a problem with people participating in that?
Not especially because it's going to look like going to church. It's going to look like, prayer visuals and stuff. And I guess I would shift it from praying for the dead to praying for the living.
Okay.
Honestly.
Well, that's different.
Yeah. And so that's what I would do, right? Like,
what's wrong with praying for the dead? I don't feel like I asked you that question last time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
because there's no point.
There's no. Yeah. I mean, like individuals who've passed away are either in heaven or they're in hell. Right. Yeah. Again, that's my understanding. An individual who's Catholic is very much going to disagree with that, right? So that's why there's All Souls Day on November 2nd, and they're praying for those that are in purgatory, right? Like, and then you have the tradition that kind of goes back and feeds into the whole idea of going around and the trick-or-treating and then praying for those that are in purgatory. And so like that doesn't resonate with me either.
Okay.
And so like, am I against individuals that practice Catholicism and are doing those things? No, like, of course not. Like, I'm not telling them that they're doing something bad, awful, wrong, or anything like that. It's just, I couldn't sign off on it myself as a pastor, like for our church to do those kind of things, right? And so that wouldn't do much for me.
Okay.
Again, there's one thing to like honor the saints, or to like, hey, we're gonna have a day of like remembering the saints. Like, here's like, because I think actually for Protestants, one thing they could do is have more opportunities to learn about the saints of old. You talk to a Catholic, and they're going to talk about Athanasius and Ignatius and the Gregories and St. Augustine and St. Basil and da-da-da. And we're all going to sit there as Protestants and go, who are you talking about?
Right.
And that's a shame on us, actually.
Okay.
Like, we actually should know who these early patristic church fathers were.
Early what?
Sorry, these early church fathers. I'll just
early what church fathers?
Patristic.
What is that?
So just...
Patriarchy?
Kind of that's what we're going. No, it's just the idea of that they were, fathers in the faith. Okay. And so I'm not going to look back so I think for me as an individual who is well read on the early church, then therefore, like, I know who these saints are. I admire them. And so I do think for the Protestant church, that actually could be something that you could actually glean from the Catholics. But I'm not going to pray to the saints, or,
right.
I'm not going to do that. And I'm definitely not going to pray for people who are in purgatory, because I don't believe there is a purgatory, much less people in it. So,
that.
So that's where we're going to divide. But again, so for me, the roots of paganism, Catholicism, neither do much for me. I think really we're dealing largely with a secularized, commercialized holiday or event. And then you've got those areas where it is really dark and satanic. I do think that's there. I think it's really there. And so, so to be honest with you, none of it does a whole lot for me.
Nothing appeals to Joseph.
No, so that's why we're going to have a family movie night and just watch King Kong or something, So, I mean, that's just what we're going to do.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, your take on Halloween in a nutshell, Pastor Joseph's.
Okay. So,
summarize.
All right. So, here's my, do you want the pastoral take or my personal take?
Both.
Okay. So, pastorally, I would say that individuals that choose to participate in Halloween, like by trick-or-treating and that kind of thing. Okay, that's like, if you want to go out and trick-or-treat, okay, that's cool, but do it in a way that's still like honoring the Lord. Okay, in other words, make sure that...
How?
Okay, so make sure that you're dressing in a way, that you and your kids are dressing in a way that don't come off as like ghoulish, or don't come off as, violent or demonic or dark, your kids want to dress up, as their favorite cartoon character or whatever. Okay, that's fine, and so, but just be mindful of what the costumes the kids are wearing, and be mindful of the events and the parties that you're going to, like if those places are dark, if those places are, have this whole, perspective of like evil or darkness, like, no, just don't go there. There's plenty of other options and places to go to. And so as a pastor, I would say that if that's what you want to do with Halloween, okay, just make sure you're doing it mindfully, okay, with what you're wearing, what you're doing. And then, for those that are like, I don't want to have anything to do with Halloween, that I'm like, as a pastor, I'm like, okay, that's fine too, right? Like, you don't want to celebrate any part of Halloween, that's fine.
Okay.
And then you got those that are like, well, we're not going to do anything on the day of Halloween, but at, the fall festival or, harvest festival at my church, we're going to go there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you're going to do that. That's fine. And so pastorally, I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill on this.
Okay.
But I am going to say that it's like, just make sure you're not looking or having the appearance of darkness. Really be able to make that distinction between dark and light.
Okay.
So that's like pastorally my bigger thing. Okay. And then obviously, I've got Catholic friends and Catholic family, and if they're, they're going to engage it through the Catholic lens and the Catholic means and ways. Go, right? That's fine. Go right ahead. Again, it's just not part of our particular liturgy. What's interesting? And so Halloween is October 31st.
Yes.
Okay. As Protestants, there's another event that we celebrate on October 31st.
Okay.
Reformation Day. And
no one knows what that is.
No one knows that it is, except for those that are listening that are reformed in their theology, probably. And so, but it's Reformation Day. In other words,
can I dress up as Spider-Man?
And so Reformation,
fat Spider-Man.
And so Reformation Day is so.
Oh, well.
Anyways, all right. Not going to be swinging between any buildings, I guess. All right. So, all right. But no, Reformation Day is a day as Protestants that we actually celebrate the placing of the 95 Theses on the door. From Martin Luther.
So it's middle finger to Catholics Day. Okay.
Well, and so that's... And
I'm going to dress up as Theses number 37.
Whichever one that is. Yeah. But no, I think that it's so... But it is Reformation Day, which is interesting because you're right. Like, it's often never talked about
Nope.
Especially if you're running in like the evangelical non-denominational world. Like, it's just not... If you're in that non-denominational or charismatic world, it's not going to be talked about. Okay. If you're in the more, if you're in the Lutheran tradition, if you're Calvinist, if you're Reformed theology, is a big deal at your church, you're going to know what Reformation Day is. And it's a pretty big deal. Okay. And so, and it goes on to celebrate not just the thesis being put on the church wall, the church doors, but also the fact of what Reformation stood for, right? So that we're saved by grace alone, through faith alone.
Okay, well, this sounds like another way for Protestants to feel better than other people on Halloween.
Why? Because of Reformation Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's no thought of like Halloween, like in the midst of Reformation Day. Like, it wasn't like it was like, oh, well, we're gonna, I understand there was I say that. Let me back that up.
Okay.
There was obviously, you already had All Hallows Eve occurring, right? Because that was established in the 700s, in the 8th century.
Oh,
okay?
Was one of the theses that we don't want to celebrate Halloween anymore?
No. It didn't name it explicitly. No.
Because that's bad and pagan and stuff?
Yeah, well, but anyway, what I was going to say was, or what I was saying was that there's, so the kind of the foundations of the Reformation for most, Protestants is that, we're saved by grace alone, through faith alone, in Christ alone, okay, for His glory alone. And And then we obviously talk about
a lot of alones.
Yeah, it's a lot of alones. And then, so it's
kind of seems like they all work together.
Yeah, and then it's like
together, not alone.
Not alone, but there's a lot of the what they call the solas, right? Sola scriptura, sola fide,
alone.
Yeah, alone. So
okay.
And so like obviously, scripture alone is the authority, not the Pope, right? Like scripture alone is inerrant,
not the Pope.
Not I won't say authority, but scripture alone is inerrant, not the Pope. And so so I think that there's those, like the priesthood of all believers. There's these things that are really important for Protestants that actually, should be taught in most churches. That we wouldn't have the things that we believe in as Protestants without the Reformation. And so it was a pretty big moment. But yeah, that's kind of a rival.
Do you know all 95 theses?
No.
Why not?
No. I have not sat
Did you
down.
Go to school?
I did, but I've not sat down to memorize all 95.
Okay.
No. So sorry about that.
So I guess Joseph's personal take now.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us personally, I mentioned this earlier that like, I don't really, I have a hard time finding myself in any of the places.
Yeah.
And so it for me, there's nothing that I feel connected to with Halloween, right? The commercial side doesn't interest me. Obviously I reject the pagan root part of it. Not going to participate in that way. And for example, that's one of the reasons we're not going to do jack-o'-lanterns and that kind of stuff. Because that even has pagan origins. Okay. And so like, we're going to not do that. Like the whole idea of, have you heard the story of how we got into jack-o'-lanterns?
No.
Okay. So, the whole idea of jack-o'-lanterns is there's an individual named Jack. That doesn't surprise anybody.
Right.
And so that he actually tricked Satan. Okay. Tricked Satan.
Go him.
Yeah. And in so doing, got a year of Satan not bothering him.
Oh.
Okay. A year later, he tricks Satan again and gets 10 more years of Satan not bothering him.
Okay.
Okay. And that was but then he dies. But because of the way that he had lived and done things, Jack was not allowed in heaven. Okay.
Okay.
But neither would Satan take him.
Oh.
To uphold that pledge of not, messing with him or bothering him or anything. And so now he's just roaming the earth. All right.
Oh.
And so it starts off with he's roaming the earth and he takes a candle and so he has the candle in, oh man, what was it? It wasn't a pumpkin at that point. It was because they were
a gourd.
Yeah, something there. It was something. Anyway, when the tradition came over to America is when the pumpkin got brought into it.
Okay.
Because it was easier to put the candle in the pumpkin.
Okay.
And so then you had, the jack-o'-lantern started because it was the idea of Jack with a lantern.
Trying to find where he's
just kind of roaming the earth.
Oh, okay.
And so like even like those kind of pagan traditions. And I know that's just like folklore and that kind of stuff. But like, all right, so our family personally, like we're rejecting that. We don't have the, we don't have the roots in the Catholic Church and those traditions. I'm not really buying into them. So it doesn't become like a holy day for me.
Mm.
And so therefore I'm kind of left going, And so we choose not to participate personally. But this also ties in a little bit pastorally for us. Okay. Because for those in our congregation, this is one of those weird places as a pastor sometimes that we realize that we live in glass houses. People are looking at us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you live in
I'm living in a parsonage, right across the street from the church, so they're always looking at us. But no, I'm just kidding. And so, kind of, and but anyway,
stop trying to see what we're up to.
Okay, well, I mean, it's kind of funny because people will say, we haven't seen your dog outside in a while. Is he okay? And you're like, how often are you driving by to check on our dog? Like whatever. So, but
where is he?
Right? What have you done with him? Yeah. And so anyway, like, but as a pastor, like one of the things too, we do live in a glass house. People do look at us.
You should mess with your church members. You should go buy something that looks like a charred dog and just put him on a spit in the front yard.
And just let it just be going. Yeah, that would not go well. All right. So anyways, I don't want to scar any of the children that are with them. But so
leave your dog's collar in the middle of the street. Or leave it in the church parking lot.
Run over it a few times. Not the dog, the collar. Right. Yeah. And so no, but
do the whole the Halloween or the Home Alone stuff.
Just do all of it.
Where you've got all the people in the window.
Right.
It looks like there's a party happening.
Every night at the pastor's house.
Every night, yeah.
Yeah. Party at pastor's house.
Yeah.
All right. So
and no one at church was invited. And they're all texting each other.
That'd be rough. All right. Anyways, and that would cause a stir. All right. But like as a pastor, there's a part too, like where, okay, if we abstain from something, right? Like we just don't participate in Halloween, people are going to go, okay. Like it does not, like even those that are participating in it themselves are not offended at us not participating. Right? But if we were to participate, and there's those in our congregation who are like, they can't get over the pagan roots of the holiday. If they can't get over those pagan roots of it, then now our family can be like a stumbling block to them. Kind of going back to the 1 Corinthians 8 we talked about last episode with Paul. And so like we don't want to be a stumbling block to them because they're like, no, we don't participate in Halloween, whether it's the pagan roots or the satanic part that they feel is connected to it. So for us kind of just staying out of it is it's our preference, but it also pastorally is good, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's why I'm saying we really have a family movie night. We order pizza. We've basically been doing the same thing since our kids were born. You know, it's like we're going to have a family movie night. We're going to order pizza. We're going to watch a movie, have a good time together, play games.
Well, what do your kids think? Are they mad about it? Or have they ever been mad about it?
No.
Okay.
No. And, and they, and again, we went to a fall festival where there was a trunk or treat this year, and we didn't really know what the trunk or treat was all about. Like, it was my first time ever. I had no idea what it was really about. And so, so our kids participated in that, and that was fine. We got the fall festival coming up. So in other words, if we're worried about our kids not getting candy, which we're just not that overly worried about it, but if we were, they would have their opportunities to get their candy in these other places.
Yeah.
And so, but no, we are not worried about, overdosing our sugar, our kids on sugar. Oh no, they didn't get enough candy or sugar in their bodies,
right.
In the end of the month of October. So we're just not worried about that.
Well, I think Halloween's boring.
Yeah, really.
You can just go get candy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing all that other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The best part is to wait for like a day or two afterwards.
Yeah, and then it's half off.
Bingo.
And I don't have to go walk around to 100 places hoping I get something.
Right.
That I want to eat, actually.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so so I'm just, that's where we're at. And yeah.
All right. So will I go to hell if I celebrate Halloween?
Will you go to hell if you celebrate Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay. Just big answer, like big picture answer, just for the practice of Halloween, are you going to hell? No.
Okay.
Okay.
But what if I wanted to?
But
right?
You want to go to hell?
No, there's some people that celebrate Halloween that want to.
Oh, that want to go to hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, well then, I mean, that's unfortunate. But I'm saying for believers.
Okay.
For believers. Okay, but I'm saying no, but I need to qualify that.
Okay.
Because and I'm not saying that if because going to hell is a big leap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a move. That's a move to go from believer to, oh no, I participate in Halloween, now I'm going to hell. Okay. But here's what I would say, that if
this is the hardest you've ever had answering this question.
I know, but here's what I'm going to say. This isn't like hell. Maybe I shouldn't move it as a hell issue, but make it as a sin issue. Okay? On a couple of different levels. Number one, that if you're participating in things that you know are darkness, that you know are occult, practices and you participate in them anyway just because, well, it's Halloween, so what everybody else does, or you dress in a way that's provocative because, well, it's Halloween and that's what everybody else does, like, no, like, that's not okay, right? Like, like that's sin.
It's not an excuse to be sinny.
Yeah, correct. It's just not an excuse to go out and sin because, well, it's Halloween, right? Like, that makes no sense. And then the same thing.
But it's Halloween.
But it's Halloween. I know. But the same thing, like, where it's, in Romans, where it speaks about the fact that if, anything that is not done by faith is sin. Anything that's not faith is sin. So anything that I do that's not in faith is sin. And so if you're doing something that's not in faith, that is sin. And so I'm not going to sit here so I'm kind of pulling back, like, the act of participating in Halloween, dressing up, having fun, is that going to send you to hell? No. But you do need to know what sin is and what sin is not, right? Like, know those lines and don't excuse sinful behaviors just because it's Halloween. Like, that would just make no sense at all. To me, but more in particular to the Lord. So, yeah.
Oh, that's it?
I mean, I don't know if I have any more qualifiers than that. So, yeah. Oh, well, I do have one more qualifier. They have one more.
It seemed very short.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me have one more qualifier. Is that the people that are around you. And if you know that someone has recently gotten saved and they have come out of, like, occult practices or Wiccan or something like that, and now they view Halloween as something they need to stay away from Halloween with them. Like, this is going back to not being a stumbling block to your brother and sister in Christ. And so I think that is something to be mindful of.
Those people understand that American commercial Halloween is not what they were doing?
I mean,
wouldn't they get it? They probably get it more than I do.
Yeah, but I think they also know depths of the demonic that are happening on Halloween that we're not aware of.
So why would that be a stumbling block for them?
Because I think they'd have
they'd be able to tell us.
Yeah, but they would have a hard time untangling that. In other words, like, to celebrate Halloween to them is going to, and I could be wrong. You're right. But I think for some that it could be like an issue for them of them going, no. But on Halloween, we prayed for curses on you. We cursed Christians. We cursed, this is what Halloween is. On Halloween, we worship the devil. On Halloween, we entertained evil spirits. This is what Halloween is. And so for them to say, oh, we're going to celebrate Halloween, and it's just not a big deal, they might go, well, you might think it's not a big deal. What you're doing is not a big deal, but what we know it is, from their perspective, that's a big deal. And therefore, we cannot be okay with that.
It just feels different than, like, smoking or drinking in front of somebody.
I don't think it is, though.
But I think it's not like.
Well, I will say this then.
If I trick or treat in front of someone that used to be
right. So maybe the question is, or not the question, but maybe the thing to do is to ask them. What do you think about Halloween? What do you think about people who go and?
I feel like they could tell us more than we know.
Right. So what do you think about going and trick or treating? What do you think about people who go do that? Like, ask them those questions, because we haven't really talked about it, to be honest with you. Like, there is we've alluded to it, but there is a dark, demonic, satanic underbelly of Halloween that exists now. And so it's not to scare off everybody.
Or always existed.
Yeah, or always existed. And so it's not to scare off everybody from doing Halloween or participating in Halloween, but it is a reality and it is there. And so I do think we need to be cognizant of that, and especially for people that are coming out of that into Christianity, they may need still to have a very hard break from anything that's associated with quote unquote Halloween.
That's it.
All right.
Good job.
Cool. And good job to you too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, man. That's good questions.
Good.
Yeah.
That's why we are here.
It is why we're here.
Good.
I don't know if I answered everything good, but you asked good questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, There's people going to just hate me all over the place. They're going to love you, but they're going to hate me.
Oh, no, that's inaccurate.
Well, that's... well,
no.
That's probably true, too.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't tell from our audience if there's more people that put up with me who just want to hear what you have to say or enjoy what I do over on this side of the table.
No, I
can't tell.
Yeah. No, there's definitely people that enjoy what you're doing.
Okay.
They think I'm an idiot sometimes.
Right.
There are people who absolutely think I'm an idiot.
Right. There's also those people.
You're right. 100% there are.
Yeah. And it's fun when those people start fighting in the comments.
To be honest with you guys,
there's so many different groups of people that come here to love half of this and hate the other half.
I know.
Yeah.
And then they argue amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we kind of sit back and just watch it all play out.
Yeah. Like you guys sit back and watch us.
Right.
Well, go to Patreon, $5. Like, subscribe, share, comment, follow down. You can follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at When I Heard This Podcast, and X and Locals at When I Heard This. Ring the notification bell. Tell everyone that you know about the show, and go to the website where there's t-shirts. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nate Robinsoff. You can follow Joseph on Instagram at
Rev Joe T.
This has been the When I Heard This Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.